Jimmie, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. What have you been up to recently? Obviously, we saw you last in the Octagon in July for Fight Island. What have you been up to since that time?
Uh, just training. I'm training for this fight coming up, and actually one of the biggest things I've been starting is I started a police program with the chief in the town we train in, where the officers are mandated to train with me 3 times a month. We run classes twice a week. So this way, the biggest thing helping with officers is that they go in a situation, and the first thing we're teaching and that they go through already is de-escalation. Going in there, calm state, even though whoever it is or whatever's going on, they're upset, they're frightened, they're angry, is to talk them down and kind of bring them to a calm level. But in order to be able to talk to someone and not have to worry about you know having to defend yourself or doing something, you got to have that confidence. So what we do with the officers, we work with them for an hour and a half as a class. I do an hour of jiu-jitsu, an hour of boxing, offense, defense. So this way officers learn how to, if it comes to that, to defend themselves. They don't resort to, their OC spray, their baton, or their taser or gun, right? So, someone gets out of hand, you have someone that's disorderly in public and they're just drunk and just try to calm and talk them down. But if they start trying to hurt the officer or someone around them, or people, bystanders, so the officer can defend the people around or defend themselves by not resorting deadly force. And that's one of the biggest things I've seen with everything going on, and something that me and the chief have been talking about a while now to start. We finally got it going in July. We started the program officially in August, and it's been going great. So I've been really busy with that and training for this fight coming up. I think when you see a lot of stuff going on, I think the biggest thing is not how to try to defund the officers, but how to help them in these situations. A lot of the stuff they do, and at least in New Jersey, they do about a week or two of defensive tactics in the academy when they become a police officer, and after that, they never do it again. So unless the officer is willing to devote the time to train, they're not doing anything for self-defense. And that's, I think, really, really important, because you won't be able to go in there and, there's two different types of people out there, to keep it simple. And if someone doesn't know how to defend themselves, they overcompensate, and they'll overcompensate with anything they have. And if someone knows how to defend themselves, they can go in there and speak calmly and be confident about whatever situation it may be. And I think that's one of the biggest things that officers don't have, is that ability to know how to defend themselves without any of their gadgets, any of the stuff, anything in their whole, the OC spray, again, taser or gun, to be able to use just their hands. And when we teach them stuff, and when myself and the chief teach them stuff, it's not teach them how to do like a knee on the throat, which we don't condemn at all. It's just how to use your body weight to control someone where they can't hit someone else or hit you. And you, as you control them with your body weight, just to talk them down, tell them to calm down. It's like a baby throwing a tantrum. You know what I mean? They're throwing a tantrum and they're swinging, stuff like that. You come in, you hug them, you hold them, and you give it a minute or two, and that tantrum kind of subsides, and it's done, and you kind of bring them back down and calm them down. So it's really important for I think officers know how to do that. So I've been really busy doing that, and training for this fight. So it's going well. I mean, COVID has not been a help with it at all. So that also sucked a little bit, but it's going.
Good. And obviously, you got the opportunity to fight during the pandemic when you fought Cody Stamann in July in Abu Dhabi. So, what was that experience like going over to Abu Dhabi for Fight Island during a pandemic? And of course, you obviously took that fight at 145 pounds, didn't you? So what was that like in general?
I apologize. My dogs are just playing with each other here, so that's the dog background. You can't see them on the ground over here. Um, the flight was long going there, but it was kind of nice because I got to relax and catch up on some sleep there. On the way back, I was too excited about even trying. I tried to sleep, but it was tough. Um, we didn't really get to enjoy the island as much as we wanted because we had a quarantine. There was a lot of flying. We had to fly to Vegas, and then from Vegas go to Abu Dhabi, and we did a lot of extra flying instead of leaving from New Jersey. Guys, come on, come on. Sorry. And the experience was great. Everybody was nice. We just didn't get to really enjoy the island because we literally came out of quarantine. We had a couple hours, and then I had to go to sleep to wake up the next day to start cutting weight and stuff. So it was awesome. I wish we had a little more opportunity to enjoy it more. And I mean, in a way, it sucks that we're not going in January and we had to push it back. But it's, because it's a lot warmer than it is here right now. But when we were out there, it was pretty hot. It was like 116, 117 and humid and hot. So it was a little tough out there. We did go outside for when we got out of quarantine, but it was like after an hour, even after 10 minutes, I'm like, I think I'm ready to go back in. It's pretty hot.
Yeah, definitely. And talk about the experience, obviously, taking, why initially did you take the fight at 145 pounds and how did you feel? Obviously, you were successful, you got the win, but what was it like not having to cut those extra pounds, and how did it make you feel in there? How did it affect your performance?
It felt great. I think my performance, I think not cutting the extra weight didn't kill my body. It was a last minute fight, so we got a call on like 5 days notice and went out there to fight. And when they gave me the opportunity to fight out there, especially at 45, I was like, that's a no-brainer. I was already kind of training and back into the swing of things. We finally opened up the gym from COVID, and all the fighters were training, so that was kind of like a no-brainer, especially not having to cut weight. I had to cut like 2 pounds, 3 pounds. That was it. Fight at 45. I miss it. I would enjoy it right now, fight at 45 instead of this fight coming up at 35. But it's a whole different thing. Just being able to get out there, do the fight, and get my hand raised in was a huge accomplishment. And it was nice to get back on the winning side too.
Yeah, definitely, because obviously you were coming off of 2 back-to-back losses, but to the current champ, and then obviously to Aljamain Sterling, who will be fighting for the title. So did you put any extra pressure on yourself on the lead up to the Cody fight, and was it like a weight off your shoulders when you got back into the win column?
Yeah, definitely weight off the shoulders. There was no added pressures. Went in there and going to fight, and whatever happens, happens. I think the same thing with this fight. I'm getting older now, and I'm like, I want to do well and keep going. So right now I got to win. I want to focus on this next fight at hand before I look past Pedro and anybody else or any future opponents. I just want to focus on this fight and get my hand raised.
Yeah, definitely. And would you ever see yourself going back up to 145, or is bantamweight that's where you're going to stay?
It's something that I've discussed and I'm thinking about possibly. Really, just I feel so much better at 45, and I have 2 teammates that fight at 45, and they're a bit bigger than me, walk around weight, but when they're in camp and they're training, I want to say they're not that much bigger, when they're like in shape and cardio. So I'm like, it's been a question of me going and possibly, maybe going 45 or not, but I haven't thought of it like a full yes yet. I'm still focused on this fight and what I could do at bantamweight.
Okay, and like we said, obviously your 2 past losses were to Petr Yan and to Aljamain Sterling. Obviously they're going to be fighting for the title next. How do you see that one playing out, obviously having been in there with them both?
I think, they both have good chances. I think if Sterling obviously could get him on the ground and use his reach like he did with me and keep Yan at bay, but it's kind of hard. Yan just keeps walking through. I think it's a tough fight because Yan needs to worry about the takedown the whole time, and I think it's a tough fight for Sterling because he's got to watch out for the striking. And if he can't get him down, it's gonna go to Yan. I think Yan eventually will take the stand up and learn it. It's not like he's doing a 3-round fight, he's doing a 5-round fight. Hey, calm down. Sorry, I apologize. These guys just keep going and they don't stop.
What do you think of Petr Yan as a champion?
I don't know. He's a champion. He's as a champ, I think he's a tough guy. I think he had a tough fight with Aldo, but I think from Aldo cutting all that weight, it showed in the later rounds that he didn't have the cardio that he usually has. So that's a big factor when it comes down to cutting a lot of weight. It's not really about how much weight you got to cut. It's that how is your body going to perform after you cut all that weight. So I think that's probably obviously one of the reasons I felt so good at 45 was I only had to cut 3 pounds, 2 pounds, and felt unbelievable instead of cutting the normal, 7 to 8 pounds to get down there.
Yeah. So your fight with Pedro Munhoz, obviously that's a rematch from back in 2015. So did you think that this may be, coming back around again in the future? Or was this a surprise to you to hear this as your next one?
No, not at all. I mean, if you look at my career, I fought Marlon, or if you even just look at the losses, I fought Marlon, Sterling, and Yan. So my 3 losses right there. Eventually, I'm going to see those guys again and fight them again. I mean, they're all top guys. And obviously, look, Sterling and Yan are unbelievable top guys. They're looking for fighting for the title right now. I fought most of the guys in the top 10 I fought, except for recently, because you had guys like Rob Font come back from injury. You had Aldo and Frankie just drop down to 35 from 45. So besides those big names, most of the guys you look at, you kind of fought them already. So it's like it's eventually going to come back around. Pedro is obviously up in that top, and it's coming back around. And now that we're going to fight.
Yeah, and obviously that was back in 2015. It was quite a while ago. Do you remember much about your performance and how that went? Obviously, you did get the win back in 2015.
Yeah, I mean, I remember them cheering in Portuguese, "You're gonna die," which they're not a big fan of Americans over there in Brazil. But I was told that afterwards, not before. My coaches hid that from me. Jan, Pedro's just a tough dude. Like, he just kept coming no matter what you threw at him. He kept coming. So he's definitely a tough dude. Not taking a fight lightly. And I think the biggest thing was going in there. And I didn't notice I watched the fight back. I think one of the biggest things is that someone brought my attention to that first round. The crowd was really, really quiet. And then he started edging in the second and the third. I remember it just being a war and us beating the shit out of each other. Then when I watch the footage now, it's like, wow, really went at it. And I mean, that's a tough win because I'm not just fighting someone in some state. I'm fighting Pedro Munhoz in his hometown in Brazil, in his home country, where you're American, they don't like you.
And obviously it's interesting because we've just seen with this Fight Island in January the crowds coming back. Okay, it was only 2,000 fans in attendance, but we've been so long now without fans. How, as a fighter, do you think the crowd impacts a fight or can impact a fight in terms of how does it motivate you as a fighter? Do you think it can sway judges? What's your opinion about crowd?
I think it could sway judges, but you also had judges being swayed in a small arena here in the commentating, so it could go either way, and it could go either way with the crowd. Some fighters, I'm not going to say how I am, but I know some fighters depend on the crowd, some don't. Some like it, that's like almost like a training facility, and it just all depends on the mindset of the fighters. I think the biggest thing I like about it is that I can hear his coaches as long as they're not speaking Portuguese, and I can hear my coaches really well, and I can have a conversation with my coaches and not have to scream or say something, So when we were in Abu Dhabi and I was fighting, I could hear my teammate. I'm like, I got you. I'll do this, So that's nice.
So in terms of obviously this rematch, it was quite a while ago. You both have obviously developed so much as fighters. How would you say you have changed and developed since that time, the first fight with Pedro?
I think I'm just more experienced from the first time, and all the fights I've had just kind of make me better, experience-wise, and know where I'm at. And I think when you go from first fight in the UFC or first fight in general, and then 10 years later, you just have a lot more experience, and you're very more calm, and you could understand it better and know how to work in different situations.
Yeah, and with Pedro as well, how do you see him changing? What do you think you can expect to see from him in February?
I think the same thing, just experience. Like he's got more experience now since we fought. We've had numbers of fights, and he's fought top guys. And I think one of the biggest things you just see is experience.
Yeah. So how do you see it playing out in February? How do you see it going down?
I think it's just going to be a war. I think we're just going to go at it. I think kind of like last time we beat the crap out of each other, I think it's going to happen the same time around.
Yeah, and obviously this was supposed to happen in January 20th. Why was it pushed back to February? Do you know?
Yeah, well, I had some personal issues I had to take care of. And I know I got pushed back before that again because we were supposed to fight November, December, and I think he needed some more time to train or something like that. He just came off a fight, so I kind of got pushed back a couple times. But with everything I'm taking care of, and everything he's taking care of, I mean, a couple more weeks, not too bad, and especially that we have a little shorter trip instead of going all the way to Abu Dhabi.
Exactly. I mean, being in Vegas now, that must not play to your favor, but you must feel a little bit more relaxed not having to do that big travel.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the biggest things, that huge travel we have to do.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we really look forward to seeing you back in action in February. Jimmie, thank you so much. I think your dogs probably want you back now.